Diana. 6 weeks later, there was another funeral. This time, there were no cameras and just a handful of mourners. The body was enshrined in a candle-lit marble tomb, guarded by 2 red sphinx. This funeral was for Dodi Al Fayed, a man who found fame through the image of a single blurred kiss. He was a man we knew almost nothing about. Yet in death, 2 very different pictures of Dodi emerged. The first, a talented man who'd won an Oscar for his first film, who was loved by family and friends. Then came dark and salacious rumours that tarnished his reputation. Some said he was addicted to cocaine. Others said he was an obsessive womanizer. And one even said he was violent. My name is Jacques Peretti. I'm a journalist. I know how Dodi's story ended. What I wanted to know was who he was and how he ended up with Diana. What role did his father play in his life and death? Was he his puppet, or did Dodi bring about his own downfall?
Good morning.
My investigation starts here, Harrods, the flagship store owned by Dodi's father, Muhammad, where he built this extraordinary shrine. Why? Why in death did Muhammad claim that Dodi and Diana were in love, engaged to marry, and even that Diana was pregnant with Dodi's child? And that MI5 and the Duke of Edinburgh had killed them both.
Dodi, like a fountain you came for.
As if to compete with Elton John's rewriting of Candle in the Wind, Al Fayed funded this musical tribute, My Father, My Son.
Was so good.
The music is a standard sentimental ballad. And the words of the song tell me nothing at all. Dodi seems elusive. He never speaks. He's given no voice. I wondered if that was true of Dodi in life.
Forever you are.
It seemed he was not the only one without a voice. A lot of people said they were too scared to talk about Dodi. Some had been sued by Muhammad. Others said they'd received death threats from anonymous sources. But some would speak. They were either too rich or powerful to care what others thought. Some people simply wanted to set the record straight. They would show me who Dodi really was. And I soon found out that not everything in his life was as it seemed, including his relationship with Diana. Because this wasn't the only relationship he was in that summer. At the same time as Dodi had been photographed on that yacht with Diana, he'd been making secret visits to this woman. She claimed that she and Dodi were engaged to be married just a few months later.
Dodi really made me feel that he was in love with me and that we had a future together, and I truly believed him and I was in love with him.
I've come to Florida to meet another woman who was close to Dodi. For more than 5 years, Pam Maestro was his personal assistant. She did everything for him. And if anybody should know the truth about Dodi and women, it's Pam. Did he date a lot of women?
Definitely.
And a lot of women were attracted to him.
Well, he wasn't a bad-looking man, but, you know, money always attracts women.
And did he enjoy sort of playing off a couple of girls at the same time?
Definitely. All the time.
And how would he do that?
With a lot of help from me. There were times when, you know, there'd be one girl leaving and another girl coming. I'd have to bring her in one room and keep her busy while the other girl was going down the stairs.
So he liked ladies?
Very much.
It was clear that juggling 2 women at a time, as Dodi did with Diana and Kelly, was nothing new. But before either were on the scene, Dodi had dated some of the most glamorous women on earth. These are some of the ones I've heard about. Brooke Shields, Julia Roberts, Marie Helvin, Tanya Breyer, Valerie Perrin, Koo Stark, Britt Eklund, Winona Ryder, Joanne Whalley, Daryl Hannah, and Susanna Constantine of Trini and Susanna fame.
She called quite often. They dated for a short time. I think she was more interested than he was.
Wow. So he really has had quite a checkered female past.
Oh, yes. But they were all, you know, tall, blonde. Definitely had the attraction to the blonde females.
And not just any blonde, famous blondes. Pam had organised Dodi's life, but I needed to speak to someone who was a confidant.
Jack, come in.
Jack Martin was a Hollywood gossip columnist. He seemed to be an unlikely friend for a playboy like Dodi. This is Dodi, and where are you?
I'm here.
You're here, yeah. And you went to Egypt with Dodi took you
Three
to?
times.
I wondered if Jack could tell me about his friend and what secrets they shared. What sort of life did Dodi lead?
To me, it was a fantasy life. He had all this money. He drove wonderful cars. He dated the most beautiful women. He just loved walking into a restaurant and having the best-looking woman in the room on his arm. He loved beautiful women.
He loved sex.
From all that I gathered, he did. I was never under the bed. But I know firsthand from Valerie Perrine that he was quite accomplished in that department.
There was something about Dodi's unbelievable list of famous women that seemed to me to be more than just about sex. Jack told me that Dodi had hired Pat Kingsley, publicity agent for Tom Cruise and Madonna, to get him in the papers, photographed with glamorous women.
He never told me he had a press agent. And he would call me and say, see what they wrote about me in the paper.
Did he have an ambition with the publicity, do you think?
Well, he said to me, when do you think, he said, I'll meet a woman so famous that she'll get my picture on the cover of People magazine.
According to Jack, Dodi's goal was not just dating beautiful women. What he craved was the fame that went with it. Is this why he came to be photographed with the most famous woman in the world that summer?
I don't remember how long they were together. I know I got the newspaper clippings.
He sent you newspaper clippings?
His office would send me like 20 copies of each paper.
It's a weird thing to do, though, send you clippings of him and Diana together.
He wanted me to read those papers because those headlines were compatible with the quote, when will I ever meet a woman who will be so famous that she'll put me on the cover of People magazine? Well, he had met a woman that was putting him on the cover of every British tabloid every day. So of course he was pleased about it.
So was Diana Dodi's dream date, the ultimate photo opportunity? Or was she, I wondered, something else? Part of his father's social ambitions. It was Muhammad, repeatedly denied a British passport, who'd invited Diana on holiday that year. I wondered if Diana was a way of his getting close to the royals. To find out where Dodi fitted in, I needed to look closer at this father-son relationship and who pulled the strings. Do you think he was pleasing his father?
I'm sure there was a side of him, yes, but then again, we really didn't talk much about his relationship with his father. I mean, occasionally I'd say, you know, your father's kind of strange, and, you know, and he'd agree, and the conversation would pretty much stop at that. I think with his dad controlling everything, it was going to be very difficult to lead a normal life.
So what kind of relationship did these two men share? What was this father-son thing really about? And how did Diana get drawn into their world?
My name is Harvey Milk, and I'm here to recruit you.
Ivy, I want you to know that I'm proud of you. You've got to give him hope.
Milk.
The home base sale is now on, with kitchen units half price, plus an extra 25% off. And up to half price on all bathrooms. You can even buy now and pay in 2010 when you spend over £1,000 on your home base card. But hurry, offer ends Monday. Home base.
Hats off to the excitement lovers who think you can never have too much fun. Think Lotto.
When you have a cold sore, fight it with Zavirax Cold Sore Cream. Use it at tingle stage and keep using it right through the blister to fight the virus. Zavirax also soothes and moisturizes, then keep using it through the scab stage. Use Zavirax so you're ready to face the world again. Zavirax Antiviral Cold Sore Treatment. Nothing works faster.
Macedonia. Timeless.
It's hero time!
Check out the new Ben 10 Alien Adventures card collection. Every week, get exclusive battle cards to play, trade, and collect. Look out for specials, including hidden alien symbol cards. Plus, get a cool magazine with comics, fact files, and much, much more. Issue 1 with your Omnitrix box and exclusive cards, £1.50.
Excuse me, I'd like to know why I'm not getting the great rate I had when I opened my savings account.
Follow me. You're no longer enjoying the introductory savings rate.
I didn't realise I was on an introductory rate. When I was over there...
The introductory part of the bank.
You gave me a cappuccino.
Introductory cappuccino.
And the biscuits?
Introductory bickies.
You were nice over there.
That'd be introductory niceness. Mind the introductory shag pile.
We don't offer confusing introductory savings rates. We keep our rates reassuringly clear and simple. Maybe that's why 10 million savers trust us with their money.
Here's a profits warning. Yours will go up. The BMI sale. At these prices, it's better for business.
Mark Dolan is back, meeting more of the world's most extraordinary individuals.
17 wives. I have one wife.
And in the first of a new series, he's searching for the cleverest child in the world.
3.145926.
Did you just refer to yourself as a kid in the past tense?
I tend to do that.
Nature versus nurture in The World's Cleverest Child and Me, Wednesday at 10 on 4.
On New Year's Day 1986, Dodi Fayed did something without consulting his father.
Ready? Give us a good model picture.
Great.
He got married.
This one's for Benson and Hedges.
He was 31, and his bride, Suzanne Gregard, was 26, and a lingerie model. But this was no ordinary marriage for the future heir to the Harrods Empire. It was all done in secret at a ski lodge in Colorado. There were only 6 guests, and not one of them was family. It seemed to me this was Dodi's chance to break away from his family ties and do it his way. So what happened?
Once he brought Suzanne to London and she met the family, and I'm sure she felt very uncomfortable. And
Why would she have felt uncomfortable?
It's a very strange family, and I think his dad even flirted with her at times. I mean,
His dad flirted with Suzanne?
Yes. Suzanne was sort of your all-American girl, and here she is with Dodi and crazy family, and I think after a while she realized that she had made a mistake herself and just wasn't going to work out.
After only 8 months, Dodi and Suzanne's marriage was over. I was beginning to appreciate some of the pressures Dodi lived with, but to really understand him, I needed to speak to his father.
Highlighting his successful career.
When we called his office, they said he would talk to us, but only if they could have a say in the film, and that they wanted us to make clear that Dodi was a successful filmmaker, that he was gentle and much loved, that he didn't take cocaine.
Unfounded allegations that he was a prolific drug taker. Are there any more?
All of which amounted to a checklist of things I needed to look into.
Thanks a lot. Bye. Bye.
If Muhammad wouldn't speak, I found a member of the family who would. His cousin, Hussein, is the son of Adnan Khashoggi, a Saudi Arabian arms dealer, and once the richest man on earth. Muhammad had married Adnan's sister, and Dodi grew up the product of two powerful Middle Eastern dynasties.
We're in the Gore Hotel, which is in Kensington Gore. It's where Hussein Khashoggi, son of Adnan Khashoggi, wants to meet.
If anyone could give me an idea of what it was like to grow up in the extraordinarily lavish world of the Middle Eastern super rich, it would be Hussein.
We grew up having a lot of toys. You know, we had a big boat, we had private jets and homes everywhere. I sort of say it's like a bit of a cocoon. You know, you're in the world and nothing else matters outside. You have your drivers, your bodyguards, your staff, the sailors, and everyone is protecting you, basically to enjoy and live your life, and have a good time. And as kids, that's what we did. But like all of us, we were put in boarding school, and so really you only see your parents for those 3 months in summer and a little bit in winter, so there's a bit of a shutout.
Dodi's parents divorced when he was just 4. At the same time, the two families fell out. Dodi's childhood was spent between boarding schools and two warring titans, his multimillionaire father and his billionaire Saudi Arabian uncle. Dodi may not have seen much of his father, but Hussein told me that he knew what was expected of him. I was wondering if Dodi's future was preordained. Was he a passenger in his own life?
When you live in that big world of things happening all the time, there is a bit of loss of purpose. Your own, what am I doing? What is my goal? My main goal was to serve my dad. And it was very much like that. It was like, okay, well, what job can I get in the world today at 19, 20 that will pay me $25,000 a month? Nothing.
So you essentially just have the job of being the son of the wealthiest man in the world.
Absolutely.
And that was your job and it was Dodi's job.
Absolutely. You know, when you live under the big wealth, you're sitting in a situation where, you're always in that shadow, and maybe Dodi never got a chance to really break out.
When Dodi was 19, his father sent him to Sandhurst, a very British institution. It was a time when Arab money was flooding into Britain. Muhammad wanted to make his mark on British society and to fast-track his way to the top. He bought the Queen's shop, Harrods, and a Scottish estate. And he sponsored the Windsor Horse Show, which brought him into contact with the royal family. It was pushy, it was new money, and some people questioned where he got it from. He wasn't welcomed. He told people he'd been called a wog, a wily Oriental gentleman, by the establishment. Battle lines were drawn. As for Dodi, he left Sandhurst after just 6 months and drifted into a zone of deluxe, super-rich non-activity. This is the Beverly Hills Hotel, Los Angeles, one of Dodi's favourite places. I've come here to meet one of his best friends from the 80s.
This is this famous bungalow where Howard Hughes was, isn't it?
Yes, that's where Dodi first used to stay.
He used to stay in the same bungalow as
Yes.
Howard Hughes.
Yes, but he stayed in all of these.
Henry Hay, like Dodi, was the son of a rich Middle Eastern businessman. He'd flown in from New York to be in this film. He said he wanted to set the record straight on Dodi.
Can you tell me how you first met Dodi?
I met Dodi in the early 70s. He came to buy a powerboat from my father-in-law. So we went to dinner and we became very close friends.
And was that the sort of thing Dodi would buy? He was just an impulsive buyer of a powerboat. Is that sort of...
He was on the cutting edge. Whatever new would come out, Dodi would like to have. He was the first one to have the Walkman. Nobody had ever seen a Walkman before. Dodi had it before everybody.
And he had a Humvee as well, didn't he?
He had a Humvee. He had a lot of gadgets.
The most serious 4x4 armor. For the first time, a civilian version.
And also, he liked all this military regalia. You know, when I'd visit him in London and he was at his apartment there, he would take out, he was very proud of his uniform. he would strut around in it once in a while.
Why do you think he liked toys so much?
I don't think he ever had to grow up into the real world. He grew up in this bubble, and he never really had to deal with the outside world.
Dodi lived in his own infantilized pleasure bubble, wafting around the globe on private jets with £400,000 a month pocket money, while his father was busy building a business empire that was to include Harrods, Fulham Football Club and the Ritz Hotel in Paris. He made it, and Dodi spent it. He bought military vehicles, even a Marine Coast Guard boat. I was building up a picture of a somewhat tragic figure, a man who'd not joined the military, but who had filled his Park Lane penthouse with shelf upon shelf of military baseball caps instead. If Dodi's livelihood was his allowance, spending it became his career.
It was just spend, 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 and, you know, didn't realize that, you know, you don't have that kind of money in your bank account anymore. We either have to wait until you get your next installment. He chartered a plane. He'd tell me to send the check, and usually I wouldn't send the check because I knew better. And towards the end, I just got fed up, and I sent the check. It bounced.
He would spend beyond his means. If he felt like he could conquer a romance or a lady, he would go in, and just because she would look at it, he would go and buy it.
This is Denise Lewis. She and Dodi dated on and off for 5 years. When I looked at the photographs in Dodi's apartment for more clues about who he was, I noticed that there were just 2 on his desk. And the only woman in them was Denise.
Can you remember where you met him and what it was like?
This is so stupid. I honestly don't remember where we met. It had to be at some party or some fabulous event, because, you know, those things were always going on.
So tell me about that. What was it like going out with him?
Oh, it was fun. We went to, you know, great places, but I loved, you know, going to their country home and going horseback riding. We would go to the south of France and go out on the boat, do various things, you know. It's a storybook lifestyle, you know. It's a fairy tale, and why wouldn't you enjoy it? You know, of course.
I read somewhere where you said something like he could kind of click his fingers and there'd be a helicopter there in 20 minutes.
I don't think I said that, but maybe somebody did.
One of his other girlfriends.
He must have had another 1 or 2. But I don't think he was a playboy. I just think that, you know, hey, you're a good-looking guy, you've got a ton of money, and there are a bevy of beauties. I mean, you could just point like that, you know, these girls are... There's a lot of girls in this town that are like vultures, I tell you. They go after some men, and he would be a definite catch for many of them.
Were you in love with Dodi?
No. God, no. No.
You were with him for quite a long time.
Yeah, but, you know, it wasn't like a committed relationship, like, you know, this is my boyfriend. We weren't like that. We just dated for a very long period of time.
I thought that if anyone meant something to him, she would have. But I was fast learning that this was a very different world I was in. The playboy world of just like dating a different woman every night, but just going for a meal with them in one night Paris, one night New York, one night London, one night Saint-Tropez. You know, that world suited Dodi. The world of just kind of non-relationships, the world of just phone calls and kind of Rolodex lives was kind of, that suited him, and that there was no commitment to anything beyond that. I wondered what Muhammad made of his son's lifestyle. Did he want him to be the business success that he was? It seems he did try to help. He bought him a Ferrari dealership. He put him on the board of Harrods, but neither lasted.
Did Muhammad keep tabs on Dodi?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, he would call me and ask me to find his stupid son. I mean, it was just, you know, at first I laughed about it, and then as the days went on, that was pretty much how he would sort of greet me and ask me where his stupid son was. So it was quite sad, actually. You know, it wasn't meant to be funny. At first I thought it was, but after a while you realize he wasn't really being funny.
So you got the impression he was quite exasperated with his son?
Well, I think he wanted more out of him. You know, his son was a playboy and really had no ambition to be a part of his father's world or his business.
And what did Dodi think of his father's attitude?
I think he just blew it off. I think he would guess his father a lot, and then he would just go off and do his own thing.
But just when it seemed Dodi might not do anything, age 26, he did something extraordinary. Chariots of Fire was an uplifting story of winning against the odds, with this triumphant run around the courtyard becoming a symbol of British film success. Chariots of Fire was only Dodi's second attempt at producing a film, and it won him an Oscar. To find out how he'd done it, I went to New York to meet Hollywood director Stan Dragotti. Dodi met Stan, then married to supermodel Cheryl Tiegs, at a party for Stan's film, Love at First Bite. Stan would give me the lowdown on Dodi's Hollywood years.
You said in the past that he had a great nose for a story in terms of a movie script and so on.
He certainly had the passion of a good story and the ability to maybe convince his father or others to invest some money. I don't think he can be discounted. He was not spontaneous, and until you really got to know him, but even then, he just wasn't, he was a quiet person, shy person. Most of the time that I saw him, he was happy and friendly and fun, and then by contrast, you'd see him one day, and it just looked like something was on his mind that bothered him a great deal. And I couldn't tell whether it was genuine or just depression, or whether his father just gave him a pranging suddenly. I just couldn't tell. But from time to time, there was some heavy things on his mind. And it obviously stemmed from his relationship with his dad.
He wanted to please his dad, didn't he?
Yeah, very much so.
How much of a producer could he be? Because he had to run the project by his father, didn't he, before getting any money?
Well, before he'd get a yes, he'd have to ask.
Do you think the fact that his father had to bankroll the films, do you think that undermined his credibility in Hollywood?
Nothing undermined your credibility in Hollywood as long as a check might eventually come.
Do you think he was in a kind of impossible position in the sense that he was a bit like a dog on a choker lead, you know, that his father could give out a bit of freedom, the lead, and then pull it back, you know, turn off the tap of money when it suited him. So it kind of made it difficult for Dodi.
I saw that a few times. I think that made it a little difficult for him.
So Dodi got the gong, but the person who made it happen, who paid for Chariots of Fire, was, as with everything in Dodi's life, his father. Over the next 16 years, Dodi's company produced just 4 more films.
Dodi I didn't see usually till midday, afternoon, sometime.
Right, okay. So he wasn't quite as hands-on really with the business?
No. There wasn't too much of the film business going on.
It seemed to me that up till now, Dodi's life had been a frivolous one. But I was about to find out how this would change. Drugs and paranoia would become a part of his world, and he'd have to choose between 2 women.
At Vision Express, we really put your eyes through their paces. We have over 100 different ways to test your eyes to make sure they're at their healthiest. Pop into Vision Express today or book an eye exam at visionexpress.com.
I want to feel things. Really feel them.
We can't go on pretending that this is the life we wanted.
Look, I'm not happy about it.
Just because you got me safely in this little trap, you think you can bully me into feeling whatever you want me to feel.
In a trap.
Yes,
You
yes.
in a trap. We're gonna be okay.
I hope so.
You know, people are always on the lookout for the best deal these days.
That's why they come direct to us.
Exactly. So when they give us a ring about car insurance, they know we'll give them our best price. But then, why don't we give them our competitors' prices as well? Even if they are cheaper. Well?
Come direct to Norwich Union for your car insurance and we can tell you our competitors' prices, even if they're cheaper. Ask us and see for yourself.
The HSBC Plus account is all about service, getting things just the way you like them. An account that includes roadside breakdown assistance, people you can call on 24/7, and of course, special rates. What's more, you'll find an introductory offer if you apply now. Upgrade to HSBC Plus.
93% of Red magazine readers would recommend Nice and Easy to a friend. We're still working on the other 7%. Nice and Easy transforms your hair color with an expert blend of subtle tones for beautiful, natural-looking hair color. It's a small change to your hair that can make a big change to your head.
She's precocious.
Nice and Easy. Be a shade braver.
Just what it.
Right now at Sainsbury's, these wines from Down Under are down to under £4. That's better than half price.
Thursday. Thursday is Hong Kong by night. It's a junk ride across the harbour and the street markets of Kowloon. Thursday's a neon wonderland before we sail off into Friday.
I think I've got a Tesco share.
Hugh is back in the ring.
We don't feel our customers should feel guilty about buying standard chickens.
And he's fighting the retail Goliath from the inside.
I have a say in how they run the company.
Is Hugh plucky enough to give Tesco a roasting?
I expect Tesco don't think we can do it.
Chickens, Hugh and Tesco 2. Monday at 9 on 4.
On the surface, Dodi Al Fayed seemed to be happy. He had everything: money, cars, private jets, and women. But I'd read of another side to Dodi, a sad, stranger person, obsessed with cleanliness and other tics. I'm on my way to the Bahamas to meet Johnny Gold. He owned one of the most famous nightclubs in the world, Tramps, and he'd seen firsthand this darker side to Dodi's world. Johnny knew Muhammad, and Muhammad introduced Dodi to Johnny. He came into the club one day and he said, "Johnny, I want you to look after Dodi." By that he meant make sure that you set him up with the girls, but nice girls. You make sure he doesn't get into any trouble. So Johnny was a kind of nighttime father figure for Dodi.
Well, Dodi was always, he was very, very careful. You know, if he was sitting in tramp with me, he would order a stolly, for argument's sake, stolly on the rocks. Drink would come, he'd have a sip, he'd get up, take himself to the loo, come back, he'd push the drink away. Stolly on the rocks, please. He wouldn't drink that because somebody might have tampered with the drink. They get paranoid. They know that they are subject to threats. You know, famous faces could easily get dragged into situations by somebody slipping something to them and they don't know what they're doing.
He had a fear of being kidnapped, I think.
Exactly, because at that time there was a lot of talk about kidnapping, about wealthy, or children of wealthy parents and such like. And he used to have security with him, you know. He had his man with him all the time, sometimes two.
Was that Trevor Rhys-Jones?
Yeah, yeah, lovely guy.
And he used to come to the club?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, he was great.
You cover a long period of time in terms of both Dodi and Mohammed. You know, you knew them both very, very well. Yeah. What was their relationship like?
Well, I think all relationships with a very successful father is tough on the son because they can't live up, in their mind, to what their fathers have achieved. And I think Dodi had that sort of feeling. I think sometimes there was that angst between his father and himself.
Johnny called it an angst between father and son, but I wondered how this angst manifested itself.
Did any of the things that Dodi was accused of taking drugs and so on, were they things that you ever witnessed?
I never saw him use anything. I never heard him talk about it. So, you know, I just didn't see it.
All the people I asked denied seeing Dodi take drugs, but one, Stan Dragotti, remembers it very differently.
Fuck the pain away. Fuck the pain away.
Quite honestly, this white cloud came along and someone said, "What's that?" And woof, we were all in it. I know he liked it. Sort of gave him a personality.
The coke gave him a personality.
He was so shy, and he was more outgoing, certainly, on cocaine than he would have been, you know, without it.
But I heard that he basically was buying a kilo of coke a week.
I never heard conscious of that.
A lot of people have said that basically maybe he was giving a lot of the coke as a way of just a sign of friendship, a sign of...
Well, it was a social thing. It was like having a wine cellar full of Dom Perignon, you know, and you offer it out to your guests and they're very happy to be there.
Yeah.
So I don't think he could have ingested all of that.
No, it was quite an achievement to ingest a kilo of coke, wouldn't it?
What Stan was telling me was that cocaine gave Dodi a personality and a way of helping to make friends. Whether anyone saw Dodi taking drugs or not, he was popular in Hollywood, part of the A-list social scene.
So this was Dodi lived here?
Yeah, this was Dodi's house. This is the last residence he occupied before he died. Julia Roberts around the corner.
Julia Roberts there, Tom Cruise there, Dodi here.
Dodi here. He moved in very good circles because people liked him.
Yeah.
He was a kind man. He was funny.
Yeah.
And he was always picking up the check.
That's important.
It's very important.
This was the story of Dodi's life, picking up the check, even if it was his father who cashed it for him. So what happened by the summer of 1997? Was it payback time? In June, Mohammed had met the divorced Princess Diana at a charity event in London. He offered her and her sons a holiday at his house in the south of France and flew them down in a private jet. Then followed one incredible front page after another. A month later, Diana returned to see Dodi. Trouble was, on another boat in an adjoining bay, Dodi had another woman, Kelly Fisher. 2 boats, 2 women. two possible outcomes. I already knew that Dodi was adept at juggling two women at once, but this time it was very different, because one of the women was Diana, and the eyes of the world were on her, and on him. It was an explosive combination, and within days there was a detonator. This photograph of Dodi and Diana was published on August the 10th, 1997. Dodi and Diana were a headline love story, and Dodi was found out. 5 days later, Kelly and her mother called a press conference to tell the world that Dodi had dumped her.
No one's daughter deserves to be treated as my daughter was. Kelly loved him, trusted him, and has been treated very cruelly by him.
He was with her over 2 summers. He must have liked her because that's a pretty long stretch for Dodi.
That was good for Dodi.
Yeah.
2 years, that was a pretty long stretch.
Yeah.
Kelly said she was not just the woman on the other boat. She claimed she was Dodi's fiancée, and she had the ring to prove it.
I can only say that I am terribly upset by the way Dodi Fayed has treated my daughter Kelly. During the course of their relationship, Dodi telephoned me frequently to tell me how much he loved Kelly and to discuss with me his plans for their future and how much he wanted Kelly to be the mother of his children.
To back up her story, Kelly recorded her last phone call with Dodi. This is the transcript. Kelly, what the fuck happened? Dodi, we broke up. Kelly, no we didn't. Dodi, Kelly, you broke up with me. Kelly, you were on a boat and you wouldn't fucking call me except every time you knew that I wouldn't be home. Was the engagement fake too? Dodi, what engagement? What are you talking about? Kelly, let me fucking tell you something. You better not fuck with me, Dodi, because you know you wanted to marry me. You even flew me down to Saint-Tropez to sit on a boat while you seduced Diana all day and fucked me all night. It was clear that Dodi had chosen Diana over Kelly, but why had he done this? Or was it perhaps that Dodi didn't have any choice? I wanted to know the role his father had played in matchmaking his son and the princess.
Do you think that Al Fayed had a plan, a strategy for Dodi?
Personally, I do think that. You know, whether he was using him for his own purpose to establish himself stronger, to thumb the nose of the British, you know, but yes, I think that from what I've understood of his character, from what I've seen, that it wouldn't surprise me.
This, it seems to me, is the heart of the matter. Hussein told me he could easily imagine how the conversation could have gone.
If the father and son had a private chat, and if that chat said, son, this is good for you, this is good for me, you know, I'm going to make your life perfect, you're going to have everything you want, you know, is he going to resign to that? Perhaps. You know, would I? Perhaps. You know, if you're faced with it, and you're faced with alternatives that may look very bleak, you may go along with it, because you know, if it dries up, if your funds dry up, then you're no one in that world.
Kelly also signed up to this version of events, that she'd been ditched so Dodi could appease his father.
They've always wanted the Fayeds. They've always wanted an inn in London, in Britain, and now they have it with her. They have it. That's what they've always wanted.
If Muhammad was manipulating the Diana situation and Kelly was a genuine relationship, I wanted Henry to explain to me why Dodi didn't stand up to his father.
There's a lot of confusion about this and misunderstanding, especially in England and in the West. Why didn't Dodi stand up to his father? You don't do things like that. It's unheard of. Your family is sacred. You're the firstborn of the firstborn from Egypt, and your father is your father. There's a sacred bond between them. And I think it's very sad that people have never really delved into that part of his life and tried to understand it from a cultural point of view.
According to Henry, Dodi had no choice. He had to do his father's bidding. But what did Dodi's friend Jack make of it?
Do you think he was in love?
I think he was in love with the fact that he was doing something that his father was very proud of because of the way the royals had treated the Fayeds. As far as Dodi, listen, he did have Kelly on the other boat.
So had his father ended this love story? The deeper I looked, the shallower it got.
He was not going to marry her.
You don't think so?
No, no, absolutely. He told me he was not going to marry her. She was what she was. She was the girl that he took out and he was very generous to, and she had access to endless shopping.
Do you think she was interested in his money?
Oh, you're kidding. You can ask that question with a straight face.
And what about Diana? What did Dodi mean to her?
She was supposedly, wasn't she, in love with some Indian doctor and using Dodi to make the Indian doctor jealous.
What looked to the world like a genuine love story between a playboy and a princess appeared very different to me now. When Dodi and Diana travelled to Paris, it seemed Muhammad had won the battle to control his son's love life. But I wanted to know if this same control had played into the events that led to their deaths.
We're staying here.
Have I ever let you down? Trust me, this is big time.
Good afternoon, sir.
It is now. Now that's what I'm talking about. I love you too, baby.
Fantastic. And just some bread for my companion, please.
Hey, I found something small time. The bill. Premier Inn. Everything's Premier, but the price.
At Direct Line Home Insurance, we hate to be beaten. We're not on price comparison websites, so we don't pay them commission. And when you come to us direct, we can give you savings. So, right now, we're halving the cost of our contents insurance. You're never sure of the best deal until you come to us direct.
We sorted him out good and proper.
We?
Well, yeah.
Extraordinary. So for 50% off contents insurance, call us now.
Or visit directline.com.
Never mix whites and colours? With Colour Catcher, not true. My husband's favourite shirt, my daughter's bear, and my red dress. Colour Catcher absorbs the colours that run. The proof is on the sheet.
Colour Catcher. Fewer washes, fewer worries. And for stained clothes, try Colour Catcher and Oxy Stain Removal.
I've discovered something amazing. I can finish my tea without finishing theirs too.
Introducing the brand new Discover Plan from Weight Watchers.
I've discovered I can drink tea without dunking biscuits in it.
Because we understand how boredom or stress can make us eat, we show you how to control your cravings so you lose weight week after week and discover a brand new you.
All my cravings were in my head, not my tummy.
Join Weight Watchers now whilst registration is free and try the new Discover Plan for yourself.
From Academy Award-winning director Ron Howard and the award-winning writer of The Queen comes a gripping thriller based on true events.
Should be explosive.
An electric piece of cinema.
We're gonna have to ambush him.
It's superb.
I will ruin you.
This is just madness.
Compelling and unmissable.
We're gonna make them choke.
Frost Nixon.
We've got money sense advisors in the branch. I mean, at this time, every penny counts.
The idea is to help customers identify areas where they can be making savings.
Do you have a clothing budget?
No.
No, and we should have maybe because...
Well, one of us should.
I enjoy clothes.
And jewellery and perfume.
Do you ever sort of shop around for different energy providers?
No, I just pay too much, you know that.
No. How do you think you could cut down on eating out?
Well, I suppose you could always eat one course less.
It would certainly help with your weight, but no, not your weight. We now have Money Sense advisors in 1,000 branches. They're not there to sell, but to give you free, impartial financial guidance. NatWest. Helpful banking.
Short breaks at Centre Parks. To book or... For your free DVD and brochure, call 0844 249 4444 or visit centreparks.tv.
When Laura kept nodding off on her way to work, she felt it was time for a health assessment. She soon found herself in a very nice Bupa Wellness Centre. From her eye test to her ECG, they made it all nice and simple. Then she had a whole hour to chat to Sophie, the doctor. "You're a little anemic," said Sophie. "Apart from that, you're not in bad shape at all. To take the first step in finding out how healthy you are, try our free online health check at bupa.co.uk/healthcheck.
Featuring footage that hasn't aired on mainstream television, Jon Snow presents a special dispatches on the recent offensive and examines the impact of Israel's decision to ban foreign journalists from the war zone. Unseen Gaza, after Dodi Al Fayed, what really happened.
By August 1997, Dodi Al Fayed had become one of the most famous people in the world. It reminded me of what his friend Jack Martin had said.
When do you think, he said, I'll meet a woman so famous that she'll get my picture on the cover of People magazine?
Wow, wow, wow. Guys, look at this. Someone's out there very important.
This film was shot by an Australian tourist outside the Ritz Hotel in Paris, 4 hours before Diana and Dodi died. What we see is a swarming crowd of onlookers and paparazzi, desperate for a glimpse of the princess with her new lover. But what we couldn't see was Dodi inside, struggling to cope with the madness of this newfound fame, and arguing with his bodyguard, Kes Wingfield.
He said, how the fuck did you let this fiasco happen? And I didn't lose my temper, but I said if you'd have told us where we were going, the fucking thing wouldn't have been like this.
An agitated Dodi decided to leave the hotel to go to his apartment. He told his guards they'd leave from the back of the hotel, not the front as they'd planned. They argued with him.
We used the threat. We said we're going to have to ring London, meaning ring the boss. And he said it's no need. It's been okayed by Mr. Mohammed. And that's what made it stick in my mind, because he said it's been okayed by Mr. Mohammed.
His father denies giving permission for the security plan to change. He said he told Dodi, stay where you are. Whatever the truth of who called who and who said what, seems to me that Dodi's fate was sealed by a final phone call to his father. Dodi had looked to him his whole life, and on the night of his death, it was no different. Dodi's friends remember where they were when he died.
And what did you feel?
I cried. Yeah. Somebody I think about a lot that I miss. I miss those calls at 3 o'clock in the morning. I used to complain about them, but I'd give anything to get one of those calls.
It was very sad knowing, you know, that he died so tragically. He was a good guy, but definitely lost soul. Everyone loved Dodi, really, in their own way, and it was really sad that he died. Don't get me started.
Mohammed Al Fayed has been criticised for his reading of the accident.
The minute this happened, I said, her fears already been executed, and the murder is definitely a murder.
He accused the royal family, and Prince Philip in particular.
They're still living in this hallucination of the colonial and imperial glory, you know. You think he will accept my son as an Egyptian with different religion, naturally tanned, will be the future stepfather of the future king? No way.
But how to view Muhammad? I asked Hussein Khashoggi what he made of all of this.
Do you feel sorry for Al Fayed?
Sorry? In what way?
Well, he's lost a son.
And I'm sure that the loss of any child is going to hurt. But in some ways, maybe the hurt is bigger than just the loss of the child. Maybe the loss of all the opportunities that could have been. So, do I feel sorry? Not really. Dodi, if he had the means, if he had the power, might have already had his own life somewhere with his own kids in his own home. But maybe by being tethered to his father's wealth, you know, and maybe that's the part that a lot of people feel no sorrow for, because they think, well, you know, you're basically, you don't want to bite the hand that feeds you, you know, and it's a big meal, lucky you. What you see in Harrods, in a way, exemplifies everything that his father represented in the control of that life. And every time I go to Harrods, every time I see that, I just think Dodi would not have wanted this.
Like a fountain you came for.
What I used to think was sentimental and overblown, I now see in a different light. Watching this intensely personal home video tribute to his son, I think everything that Muhammad did, the emotionally overwrought song, the statue, the conspiracy theories, everything he has been vilified for, is simply grief, a way of coping with losing his son.
No, never, forever you are.
It feels like a scream of pain from Al Fayed, and he's totally justified in that.
For you are my love, my joy.
And as for Dodi, he was a man who wanted just two things from life: to please his father, even though he never seemed able to, and fame, even though he had no way of becoming famous. But then came a choice, and in choosing Diana over Kelly, he achieved both: his father's respect and the fame he wanted from the beginning. This is the cover of People magazine, published just 5 days before his death. He would have seen it.
This coming Monday night from 10, Jacques Peretti turns his focus onto the princes William and Harry. Who controls them? What kind of world